Hey everyone, it's Stephanie Garcia, and this is the Art of Becoming series, where we talk all about the journey between where you are right now and where you want to be, and all the stuff that has to happen in between to get you there. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? If you have ever felt like being fully yourself has cost you friendships, acceptance, belonging, or you've ever felt like shrinking when you've been judged or misunderstood, or even talked about publicly, then this episode is for you. Now, this woman I met a few months ago, and when I heard her story, I felt like it was perfect for the Art of Becoming series for this podcast, because part of being who you want to be in this world requires you to get out there and be seen. And sometimes that is like probably one of the biggest fears of being judged. And this woman has been through it, and she has come out on the other side of it better for it. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story and get inspiration from her. So, Kelci, thanks so much for coming to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. And I'm so glad that attending a mutual event brought us together.
Exactly. I just love when you just never know who you can meet, especially when you're just willing to say hi in a line.
Yes, in the lunch line.
In the lunch line, exactly. So you are the CEO and founder of SheRose. And that's a consultancy and a community for female entrepreneurs, right? And you're also the creator of the Breakfast Club. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah. So when I first started my business, I was running a social media marketing agency where we do done for you content for small businesses. And over the years, I kind of felt a pull to do something bigger. One of my deep uh, feelings that I need to create impact is showing people that they can achieve whatever it is that they want if they put their minds to it. I want every woman that comes into my ether to know that her Pinterest dream board that she has curated is possible, and I can help her show her how to do that. And so from that inspiration, it led me to create the community component of SheRose, which is the Breakfast Club. We host events. We have a digital community where we pour into them with speakers and educational topics, and then also a mastermind where they get to come, they get to be supported. If there's experiencing a challenge in their business, they get to come bring it to the table and walk away knowing exactly what action they should be taking to overcome it.
So when you say you were pulled to do that, how hard was it to transition from one thing to another and to trust yourself with that?
Oh gosh, it has been the hardest thing. I still do manage some people's social media. So that is one part of the business. And it has been very, very challenging because it's part of my identity and it's what I'm known for. I'm known for being really good at social media. And so making that pivot, I decided to really go all in on the Breakfast Club and focus on building that just this year, even though we've been doing it for the last 3. So I've been kind of juggling both. And this year I made the intentional decision to, slow down on renewing contracts, not bringing on any additional new clients. And so it took 3 years. It's taken a long time for me to realize that I need to put all of my eggs in one basket and go all in on this thing, because after all of the proof that I've seen from our community and the women that come regularly, I know the impact, and I just can't wait anymore. It's selfish of me to wait any longer to not bring this to more women.
Yeah, and it's trusting that part of yourself that like, hey, I created this, it's working. Why would I walk away from this?
Hmm.
In order to do something else? It's so easy to talk yourself out of your intuition. Um, how did that go? Like you said, it took a couple of years, but what was the pull? Were you starting to see some things collapsing and falling apart on one end, and saying, "Hey, no, build over here. If you don't, this is going to fall apart." Have you seen that kind of transition?
It hasn't been like things are crumbling because I built my business in 2018. And so I've been doing it for so long that I could do it with my eyes closed and still get people really great results. The thing that I've been feeling and that I've been like thinking about is just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you should continue to do something. Just because you're good at it doesn't mean that you should be doing it. And I have to be okay with that because I am going to be putting more energy that I create by not doing the thing that I'm good at to do something that I'm great at and that I'm so aligned energetically towards. And it's constantly the intuition part, and the thing that I'm following is the reminder, the constant knocking of like, this is the best thing this is the thing that I get most excited about every single month. I could do this on repeat. It has come very easy to me and it doesn't tire me out or exhaust me. Of course, I'm tired after an event that I put on. But I could wake up again the next day and be like, I'm so excited to do this all over again.
Yeah, there's a difference between tired when you're putting all the effort in and a good tired, where you feel like
Mhm.
you've spent your energy in a way that refuels you. And there's a difference between tired because something is siphoning off of you, right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you said that you were being pulled in the direction of this. Um, have there been some challenges that you've had along the way?
Mhm. Yeah, so I lots. When I started my business, I called it Douglas Marketing, which was my last name at the time. And I did it as a means to an end. And when I have continued to take steps forward, continued to grow, continued to kind of like re envision what I wanted for both my life and my business, things become clearer, because you're taking action, you're getting closer and closer and closer to where you're meant to be going. Um, and so at the end of 2020, I decided to move to Boise, Idaho, because I lived in a very small community that didn't have, uh, many business owners. They relied on seasonal business. It was a tourist town. And so I was like, I need to get into a bigger pond. I need to go expand my horizons. And I moved to Boise, Idaho. I got my master's. I went to school for my master's degree. And so I was going to school and, balancing growing my business all at the same time. And in addition to that, I decided to rebrand my business and completely change the name to what it is now, which is SheRose. And that idea had come to me years prior, but I sat on it because I was scared of what other people would think, um, if I were to rename my business. And at the time, I had friends that I had made from my smaller town that I moved from, and they were not truly in my corner like I thought they were. they weren't actually rooting for me. And when they found out um, that I was rebranding, it was actually before they found out that I was rebranding. Um, they publicly went on their social media accounts and like defamed me. They drug my name through the mud. And it was absolutely debilitating for a few weeks. And I say a few weeks. I didn't ever watch the videos. I didn't watch what they said about me. But I just knew that it wasn't good. And so I decided to move because they didn't have my best interests at heart. I know the saying that goes, the only people who are try and take you down are ones that are already behind you. And I just trusted that. I trusted that me rebranding my business to what I knew it could be and to creating this like whole different era of the business that didn't just focus on social media marketing, but it focused on uplifting women and helping them build their best life through their business was just threatening to these people. It threatened them, and that's why they acted out. But I believe that there's room at the top for everybody. And that's just part of my story and why I'm even more motivated to do what I'm doing, because I know that that's not an isolated experience. I know that there are other women who probably resonate with that. And I know that I'm not alone. And so it fuels me.
Yeah. Well, and you can help other people walk through that same fire.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
you had
feel.
the fear of what people would think when you rebranded your name. And then do
Mhm.
you feel like that's the fear that you ended up being asked to walk through? Or do you feel like you were afraid of what people would think on that end about being rebranding, but then you had to deal with what people were actually saying and thinking about you on the other end in reality?
Hmm. Yeah, I what I have a fear of being rejected. And so the fact that I was being rejected on such a public scale um, was really hard. It was really hard. And it felt very similar to like being in high school and all of you walk into the lunch room and like the people that you thought were your friends like turn your back and like don't let you come sit at their table. That's kind of what it
Mm.
felt like.
Oh, so can you, because it's such a fear that so many people have, do you mind if we walk through that process that you had so maybe other people can see and just really be like, I'm not alone in this. This is what I thought and felt.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So what is
um
facing those fears? You were in that fire. What did it ask from you?
when I was challenged with that, I mean, it took everything in me to not go and get a job. I
Hmm.
was like, this is a sign for me to give up. I'm not meant to be doing this. And I did go and apply to jobs. I interviewed. I pretty much had an offer at a place. And it was I'm really grateful that I did that because this woman saw something in me that I couldn't see myself. She asked me the question, you have a business, you've done all these things. And she also had my done personality charts on me as well. So she had that like data and information. She was like, you are an entrepreneur, like through and through. Why are you and you've already built this thing, like why are you applying for a job when you could just be doing this on your own? And that rocked me to my core. Like, I really, because I had just met this woman and she was seeing something in me that I was doubting.
Mm,
And so, because I did all of those things and I explored other options, let's say, that would have meant, quote unquote, giving up on myself and giving up on my dreams, uh, I was able to like gather the courage and the bravery to face the fear of being seen after being publicly humiliated, and also rip off the band-aid and fully pursue what it was that I knew I needed to do, because it was this like thought that I just kept pushing to the side, pushing to the side, pushing to the side. Um, and so I was like, you know what? Screw this. I am going to go full force into my business and into this new evolution. And I did that, and I have never looked back because I know what my purpose is. And on my rebrand launch day, that woman texted me, congratulations. And then a year, maybe two later, she called me right after Christmas and apologized for what she did and extended an olive branch. And so I think that you just have to put all of the like outside noise aside and get very clear on what you are creating and what you're building and what you're trying to do and how you're trying to impact, and literally just trust in that. If you have such a like a heartfelt or purpose that you're hell-bent on, trust and move forward with that, because nobody can take that away from you.
people can be the best mirrors for you. Um, so it sounded like you walked through the threshold of it. Like that was the thing that was like really pushing you. It seems like it was like that last bit of thing that you needed to move through in order
Mhm.
to really up level. How long between when that lady's saw that in you did it take from you to do that to actually take the next step? Because sometimes when people can speak and see some potential in you, that doesn't always necessarily mean you take that first step. Sometimes it scares you. Sometimes you might feel like shrinking back even more, even though somebody has spoken into you. Um, I know you were like, screw this, let's go. But how long did that take? And was that screw this, let's go like instant, or did you still need some support?
For me, it was instant.
Oh,
Yeah, I was in the that interview with her. I continued to like explore the opportunity, but why my last the one of the last interviews that I was doing, she wanted me to call, it was essentially like an application interview of me like testing out to see how I would do. And she wanted me to do this thing, calling contacts in my phone and telling them about what I was doing, and could not do it. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I called my husband on the way home from the thing, and I was like, I'm not, I'm not doing this. Like, I can't do it. I am going all in on my business. And honestly think it was probably late October, early November that happened. And I put together this 12 days of Christmas giveaway where I was collaborating with a ton of other people, and I was giving away also my own expertise, one-on-one sessions and stuff like that. Um, and that started the momentum, because people were hopping on calls with me. I was posting about them. And in January of that 2021, I had my biggest revenue month ever at that point in time. So
How did
it
that feel?
it was amazing. I was like, confirmation. This
Confirmation.
is what I'm supposed to be doing.
There we go. There we go. So has there, what, from that time where you first launched to where you are right now, is how long?
That was 2020, so 6 years ago.
Years ago. Okay.
Hmm.
It's been up since then.
Yeah, I mean, ups and downs,
Okay. Of
definitely.
course. Of course.
Yeah. As with any business, there's been ebbs and flows. But yeah, like we've consistently been doing social media management. I've done consulting, I've facilitated masterminds, I've hosted retreats. Um, they all kind of have the through line of just wanting women to succeed and wanting them to realize that their wildest dreams are on the other side of just taking action and following their like gut, following what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So these women were tearing you down, and then you created a community that helped lift women up, which
Mhm.
I think is really amazing, right? For every kid
Thank
or
you.
teenager who's ever been like cast it out in that rejection, do you feel like you really just spoke to that inner child? Did you have that experience when you were younger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the stories that I tell at the Breakfast Club is like, I had kids print out a photo of me eating a McDonald's hamburger at a volleyball. We were coming back from a volleyball game. They took a photo of me, they printed it out and handed it all over the school. Taped it on the walls, and I was mortified. Um, and I can't believe, like looking back, that I can't believe that teenagers and just girls can be so freaking cruel.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, that is a part of my story. I feel like I never want that to happen in my community. I never want women to feel like that. And if it does happen to them, I want them to have a safe place to come and feel supported in business, in life. And that's really what motivates me to create this community, because business ownership is hard enough. Like there are so many things that you deal with when you own a business. Um, and so if we can just like uplift one another and share our strategies, I think that there's enough to go around. And that's what motivates me in my community.
yeah, I think it's interesting as I was listening to your story, is that the things that you went through in your life really has informed what it is that you've created. And I think that's maybe why it feels a little bit so much more on purpose, because there's like you didn't just go through all that suffering for nothing. You kind of collected things along the way in order to just weave that into what you're doing now and what you'll probably continue to create in the future.
That's so accurate. Yeah, everything has felt like it's given me fuel, it's given me lessons, it's given me some little nugget for me to be like, I can do this better. I can create a welcoming environment. I understand the feelings that women experience as well, so I can be empathetic towards how they might be feeling.
Yeah, and help them move through it. Because sometimes,
Mhm.
I've seen different people. I've seen people along the way, myself included. I've had that experience myself where you just kind of sometimes you get stuck. You get stuck in the weeds of the experience and you don't move forward. And it helps to have community that can help you, but it also helps to know that some of it that you're just collecting from your own story to weave into something else you're creating. It's not happening just for you to suffer or struggle through it.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Um, so you had to stand in your power with this experience, right? You had to stand in you may have not had as easy a time when you were a teenager doing that. But going through this experience, with essentially being bullied again. Who were the people that helped you get through that?
At the time, it was my inner circle. I had just, like I said, just moved to a new place. And so at that point, I hadn't created a community in Boise. So I leaned on my husband, um, my best friend, my parents. Like, I was a mess and they really helped me. They reminded me of who I am and my heart. So yeah, it truly, like, that was the community that I had at the time. If I would have had more like business friends, locally, I probably would have leaned on them as well, but I hadn't created that yet.
So when we walk through the fire or this threshold to our next level, sometimes we have to face different parts of ourselves. And for you, you said I had to deal with rejection. But what other parts did you have to really face through it? Because you said it was a number of weeks, and then you got to the
Mhm.
point where you were questioning whether to do this anymore. What were some of the things that you had to really face through that fire that you kind of had to burn off before you could actually hold this thing that you created?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I am a huge proponent of therapy, of doing a lot of inner work and inner discovery, healing your inner child. I worked with a neuro linguistic practitioner to reprogram the neural pathways in my brain. um, then talk therapy. I do all of it. And so through like working and getting support in that, some of the major themes that came up for me were the fear of failure, um, not being enough, and the rejection. Like, those are three like really core wounds that I continue to thank for what they're trying to protect me from and like overcome on a regular basis. Just because we've, you know, solved them or overcame like one part of them, that doesn't mean that they're gone forever. It's more of a learning how to work with them. Um, and I mean, some of those are what the reason that I like work so hard, because of not being enough. I'm like, oh, but let me just prove myself. Let me work harder. I can do it. So they can act on your behalf in for good ways. Just sometimes they're trying to protect you and they flare up and cause you to do things that don't necessarily serve you.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, they can help you survive and get through,
Hmm.
especially, when we've gone through those experiences as kids or as teenagers, we learn to adapt, we learn to cope, and it gets us through it, but eventually we hit that wall where it's not going to get us if you what got us here is not gonna get us there, and so in order to thrive, you have to move through the coping mechanisms, you have to stop relying so much on what you did to get through that because you evolved into a new person. You're no longer what 13, 14. You're no longer that version of yourself. You now have to evolve into the version you are now, but that experience is still kind of holding on to you. And you have to kind of just move through that. And it sounds like you got a resurgence of energy once you moved through that.
Hmm.
And all the creative ideas came through.
Yes, it is like once you clear out space in your calendar, in your life, whether that's people, beliefs, tasks, responsibilities, um, it's honestly amazing what happens when you do like a clearing of whatever it is. You're energetically creating space for newness. And um, so, yeah, the ideas. whatever, honestly, like I feel like whatever it is that you're searching for right now, like let's put this into right now terms. If you're like yearning for something, if you're desiring something, you need to take a really hard look at what's filling your time, your energy, your space, that's draining you, and get that out of here.
100%.
um, get it out of here, because then you're creating the space for those new opportunities and the new things that you're desiring to come. But if you don't have the capacity to hold that, then you're not going to get it.
Oh, yeah. And also, sometimes we think we know is the things that are taking up the space. We think we know what's clogging it, but the best advice I've ever been given is pay attention to what's actually coming up in your life again and again and
Mhm.
again. The same themes over and over and over again, because that is where you need to go through like the real stuff. It's the stuff that it's there, it's annoying to you, it's these patterns, but the thought of actually going and mining that terrifies you. That's the stuff to work on, because
Yep.
it's like it gets a fight or flight response within you. It's almost like a feeling of, if I do that, I feel like I'm going to die. And
Yeah.
facing that rejection and actually having it does give you that same feeling of like life or death, because that's the stuff that your nervous system is trying to protect you from, and here you are, can't be protected from it, and it's creates that fight or flight
Gotta
experience.
face it head on.
We got to face it head on. And it is not easy. Okay. That's easier
No.
said than done. And there are definitely tools and, of course, get support through it. But it sounds like for you, you didn't have a choice. It just happened. But
Hmm.
sometimes the universe really just pushes you through, because it's like, listen, don't have time. You got things to do. Get to the next level. Let's go. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Yes. And it's like, maybe you have been exposed, or maybe you have been shown signs of the things that you need to
Mhm.
excavate from your life, but you're not listening. And so at first it's a knock, then the door breaks down and they're coming in the door, and then it's like an elephant trampling over you. The things keep getting bigger and bigger until you start to pay attention and actually recognize that you got some work to do.
Okay. So that being said, let's go back for you then. Where was the knock? Where was because I heard the expression of it first time it's a tap, then it's a brick, and then it's a brick wall. So where was the tap
Hmm.
for you before this whole thing happened? Where was the brick? And then the brick wall was everybody coming in and just really having like a field day, trashing your name. Like, what were the moments where you're like, I'm gonna have to take care of this, or some things that you were getting maybe the pangs or the instinct to take on
Hmm.
something you were resisting?
Um, the first thing that came up for me was when I was with the one person, and I was telling her about my friend and mentor. She had just posted and shared that she had made $1 million in her business, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. My friend just made 1 million. Like, she just shared that she hit this huge milestone. And to celebrate, she bought this really nice Mercedes. And um, I was just like really excited for her, because I feel like that shows me at the time, like that shows me what's possible for my life, because she's a direct example and I'm her friend. I'm in her space. Um, and when I shared that, what she said was, oh, yeah, I could do that too if I didn't have a husband or kids. And I was like, that's a very, like, in my head, I'm like, that's a very weird way to respond to just me, like, sharing and being excited for my friend. I'm not telling you that you're less than because of this. Um, I'm just saying that it's really cool. And so that was when, like, I my red flags started to go off in my head. And then I had a phone call I was teaching this group coaching program, and I was having my kickoff call, and I had like, I don't know, 8 women in the program, and I was teaching them how to set goals and how to create a vision for their business. And she saw it, and she was like, I teach people. She called me. I teach people how to set goals, and why wouldn't you just ask me to do that for you? And I was like, she essentially said that I was copying her by also teaching people how to set goals. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm not copying you. Like, I'm just kicking off this program and kind of setting the foundation and the groundwork of like what we're going to be doing together in this coaching cohort. um, and I was like, so you're saying, at the time I was going to school for my master's degree, and I was like, so this is the analogy that came up. I was like, so you're essentially saying that if I gleaned any information from you at any point of our like friendship life, whatever, that it's not okay for me to share that. But I was like, that's like Pepperdine University, where I got my master's degree, saying that I cannot go and share the education that I gained from my 2 years of my degree with my clients. Because why? I am not fully understanding. But she was never like, I was never her client. She was my friend, and I wasn't sharing her direct information. And so those two things, I was like, this is getting kind of weird, that I'm not being allowed like to do what I am good at because she's, I don't know, threatened. And so those are the few things that I was like, something's not right here.
Hmm. Hmm. So what do you feel like those moments were calling from you? Like, what do you feel like she was challenging and pushing? Because people are always our mirrors.
Mm-hmm. I think, I mean, in the first instance, I mean, maybe I didn't believe that that was possible for me. Maybe I had doubts that that was possible, but I was still excited. Like,
Yeah.
I still wholeheartedly believe that if somebody else can do that, then so can I. And then the second instance, I think it's speaking to like the I'm not enough.
Hmm.
If she thinks that I had been in business for 4 years at that point, like I know what I'm doing, and I've set goals for myself every single year based on what I learned when I was working at Lululemon, because they really pour into their people. Um, and so I think she probably uh her doing that to me, or in that situation, like made me feel question, like, do I know what I'm doing? Made me doubt myself.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I
Like you
was
had to
like,
hold
should I
yourself
be doing
there.
this?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Am I qualified? Like, if she's saying that she should come in and do it instead of me, I'm like, maybe I'm not the best person to do this. I don't know.
Hmm. See, and I always wonder when it comes to like the fear of rejection, I always wonder where that comes from. Are we afraid of being seen, or are we afraid of being seen and being ourselves but maybe that's not, it's like being seen, but conditionally. It's like, can we be who we are authentically, or does that come with conditions? And so I think sometimes it's like, in order to really be who we are in the world, who are meant to be in the biggest potential it, we can be in, we kind of have to let go of the validation of other people.
Hmm.
And so sometimes I'm wondering, like, if that fear of rejection is like we're just being cast out, and now there's that feeling, loss that feeling of belonging, when in fact it's more like you're trying to learn how to belong more and more to yourself and to what you're here for, versus the validation and inclusion of what others expect.
That's such a good point. Um, I think that that's very accurate. And I definitely think that there's something there, because even thinking about 3 years of building the Breakfast Club in person here in Boise, uh, I always felt, not always, but in the early days, I felt a little bit of hesitation to get too close to the women in the community, because I was like, they're attendees, they're part of this community. Um, if I allow myself to get too close to them and they see me for who I am, are they still going to think that, I know what I'm doing? Like, are they going to
Sure.
see that I'm like, I don't know, am I good? Am I good enough? The whole, am I good enough? Like, are they going to see that things are messy, or they're going to start doubting me that I'm capable of this, or, all of the things that we make up in our head. Um, so I was initially really scared and intimidated to let them see me fully. And I would say, starting last year, so year 3 was really the year that I started to get close and allow the community that I created to be my community and people that I lean on as well.
Ooh, so I want to know what the results of that are, but can you walk us through the process of trusting that call?
Hmm.
Did you
I
go all in, or did you baby step it?
definitely baby steps. Yeah, definitely baby steps. I just started going to like coffee, dinner, hanging out outside of the Breakfast Club with people. And depending on if I got invited, or if I was creating some sort of, post whatever hangout. Um, but yeah, it was definitely baby steps of me just kind of hanging out with people, because another thing, um, that my husband has always like warned me of, if you, I don't know what I want to call it, but um is that you have to be careful of like who you're spending your time with, right? Not everybody's going to have the best intentions. And there have been times where I've said yes to going to coffee and they're like just picking my brain,
Mm.
and I'm like, no, I want to be your friend. And of course, I can support you with your business and all of that stuff, but where do we draw the line between like client and friend? And so that's kind of a fine line that I've had to just be careful of, um, because it's just the nature of business, and but then also personal life. Like, so it's been challenging and also equally rewarding. I've met and become friends with many of the women in my community that I would like go to dinner with, go to coffee with, go on a hike with. So I feel really lucky and blessed.
Yeah, you just find a way to strike the balance between having a boundary that protects yourself and also can like
Mhm.
protect the relationship. because it's easy to have, when you have business connections, it's easy to also want to have business friends that turn into friends and such like that.
Totally.
Yeah. What have been some things that you've learned along the way for others who are wanting to have like business friends, or they end up having clients that become friends? What are some advice you can give for people navigating that?
For me, I have kind of just gotten more specific and focused on the people that I want to build relationships with, the people that feel natural or like that I gravitate towards naturally. Um, those are the relationships that I'm pouring into. Like, I'm like, okay, now that I have this information about this person, and we've hung out a couple of times, I see who they are, I see their interests, and I see like a through line. Those are the people that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be pursuing this person as a client or vice versa. Like, I don't, yes, they're a part of the community. They pay to become a member of the community, but I want to be friends with this person like outside of that. So those are the people that I really, pour into. Not to say I don't pour into every single woman in the community, but on a personal level, I'm like, yeah, let's go hang out. Um, and there have been friends that I love dearly that also have leaned heavily on me for business advice. And I have had to draw a hard boundary and be like, hey, um, you know, this is what I do with my clients. And uh they've respected that. They totally understood, and they respected that, even though it was really challenging. Like, I was like, oh, this is really hard.
Yeah.
um it felt good once the conversation was had, and especially how it was received.
That's good. That's good.
Hmm.
Never easy to set a boundary, but I'm glad that, on the other side of it, it feels like your relationship's gotten richer. And I'm glad that they respected it, because sometimes you don't know if someone's going to respect
Yeah,
the boundary. Yeah. Sometimes people might try to push back on it, but you have to stand firm with it. So congrats on that.
totally.
Yeah. So you you just launched the Breakfast Club. It was on, what is it? It was in person, and now it's become online, and that
Yep.
became really successful. What
Yes.
has come from that?
Oh, it's been really, really cool. So I've, like I have said, been building the Breakfast Club for the last 3 years locally in Boise, Idaho. And in la- in November, December of last year, I had decided I'm going to go like full on building the Breakfast Club, and I'm going to bring this thing worldwide, because I believe that women need it, and what we've created is different. So from that decision, I've been putting the pieces together to launch the online membership, where we have different speakers every single month, and then we have a mastermind component. So it's just, and I'm like, this is so cool. This is so much fun. Um, and I get to pour into the ladies. We launched it in March, and we have 71 members in there. And our goal by the end of the year, I'm putting this out there. The more I put it out there, the more it will come. But I want to be serving 500 women by the end of this year inside of the Breakfast Club.
See, and you can do it, because it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch.
Thank
You
you.
ended up getting quite a few right away. And so, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to take a moment to congratulate and like,
Thank you.
good job for you to do that, because it takes a lot to trust an idea and put it out there, and like make it go and trust yourself. And it seems like you have continued to trust yourself and your instincts and your intuition. So I was going to ask you, what was the next step? What was the next, but you already said, 500 people in the Breakfast Club of
Hmm.
members. So I think you will definitely make that.
Thank you.
You're
That
very,
means a lot.
of course, you're welcome. Well, thank you so much for this interview. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am on Instagram. You can find me at We Are SheRose, WeAreSheRose. If you want to follow our in person community here in Boise, it's called the Boise Breakfast Club. And you can find either of those like on websites or Instagram, all the things.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being here. And just sky's the limit, and I'll be cheering you on the other side.
Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's been great. And you asked some really amazing questions.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. Thank you.